Hey, let's explore autistic history and the Autism Wars. This is part 34 of a series. Gonna jump right back in here to the strangers and cousins section of the article published by Jim Sinclair in 2005 about the Autism Network International and the development of that community and culture. We left off with Kathy meeting someone new to them, but a person who had been active in the online forums. So they were familiar with A and I in the virtual world. So we're picking up right there. He introduced himself to her, explaining that he was interested in exploring similarities between himself and autistic people. He briefly summarized the effects of hydrocephalus in his life. Kathy considered this for a moment and then warmly exclaimed, "Cousin!" I like that part so much. So, cousins. Yep, from that time on, the term cousin has been used within ANI to refer to a non-autistic person who has some other significant social and communication abnormalities that render him or her significantly autistic-like. The broader term AC, meaning autistics and cousins, emerged soon afterwards. So we're looking at inclusion beyond the autistic community, but with cousins, people where we are different but have shared experiences or shared challenges. So wow, all right. At this point, we're gonna jump into the Snore Wars. Like that, exactly what you think. Snore Wars in 1993. So a further consequence of the 1993 conference was a huge spike in autistic conversation on the Internet Autism Forum after the conference was over. By this time, there were enough autistic people on the forum that when we all started posting at once, the NT parents, NT stands for neurotypical or not autistic and not divergent parents, who were still the great majority, noticed a dramatic increase in the amount of message traffic. And this barrage of new messages was from autistic people and one cousin. Ooh, tick wink, that's... Oh, that tick wink gets me in trouble when we're out in public sometimes. Woohoo! It's my flirty wink. All right, so... By this time, oh, I'm lost. All right, I think this is where we're at. A barrage of new messages was from autistic people and one cousin, excited from having been together at the conference, missing each other now that the conference was over, communicating with each other in some very autistic ways. Lots of preservation on details of things that had happened at the conference. Lots of echoing each other's messages. Lots of autistic humor that few of the non-autistic people could understand or appreciate. Before long, even autistic forum members who had not attended the conference were participating in the post-conference message explosion. I love autistic humor. Some of the NT members began to post irate replies demanding that we stop wasting bandwidth with messages that were not of interest to them. We replied that our conversations were of interest to us. And we were members of the forum too, and autistic people ought to be allowed to communicate with other autistic people on an autism forum. Several parents supported us, but other parents countered with angry accusations, attributing a variety of sinister motives to our autistic conversations. Some of us responded with angry accusations of our own, expressing frustration that these parents were happy to have us participate in the forum when we served their purposes. For example, when we answered their questions and allowed them to use us as resources, but were not willing to respect our wish to engage with each other on the forum. The ensuing flame wars became known in ANI as the Snore Wars, because some of the autistic messages the parents first began complaining about were playful, conservative discussions about someone snoring at the conference. Oh my. A series of similar flame wars occurred over the next year or so. So the Snore Wars grow even further into the flame wars. So anytime autistic people became particularly active on the forum or affirmed the sentiment that autism is something other than a devastating tragedy, there would be accusations and attacks from parents. This left most of the autistic members feeling that the forum was now a hostile place for us. And we decided that we wanted our own internet forum. After having experienced coming together physically to create Autistic Space, we were now ready to create an autistic cyberspace. And this takes us to ANIL. At that time, there were not yet any public internet sites such as Yahoo groups to host email forums. We're in the way back machine here, everyone. Yes, Gen X. Listers before the forums. Oh my gosh, some of us might talk about IRC or the BB edit boards. Let's not go that far back. Ooh, that's way before the 90s, yeah? So we had to use, it was like the 80s. Okay, so we had to use a listserv on an academic server. One of our autistic members set up ANIL, the Autism Network International listserv, on a server at his university. We launched our new forum in the fall of 1994. In 1996, our members' university announced that it was going to discontinue the server, and we moved ANIL to its current home on the Syracuse University server under the sponsorship of a university faculty member. That move represented the first time ANI had ever accepted any kind of sponsorship from a non-autistic source. By autistics, for autistics has always been a core value of ANI. We do as much as we can for ourselves and rely as little as possible on non-autistic people to take care of ANI business for us. In many ways, starting our online forum was similar to starting our newsletter in 1992. We had a strong commitment to the concept of Autistic Space, where content would be determined by the interests of autistic people. We needed to decide, once again, who would be eligible for membership. This time, due to the vicious attacks we've been subjected to by some of the parents on the public autism forum, there were a number of autistic people who felt strongly that our forum should be for autistic people only. But ANI had always allowed parents to participate in its activities, and some of us felt that it was important to remain open to those parents who supported our values and goals. So I'm going to wrap this up here, and thank you for exploring some more autistic history with me and the Autism Wars. And we're going to pick up in the next video on this article, which is lengthy, but is very detailed and good description of those early days. And we're going to start with rules and divisions.